G'day everybody. Not sure how well you're gonna hear me here driving and looking through my steering wheel, but while I'm driving I thought I might just talk about something, because I got nothing to show, but it's about a new rifle, very dear friend of mine's getting built right now. It's a squeeze bore 22 rimfire, or LR. Okay, so it shoots standard 22 long rifle bullets, but in front of the chamber inside the barrel, it's got a little forcing cone, and it forces it down to 20 cal. So that's 204 or 5 millimeter. So it gets shrunk down about half a millimeter, which is 20 thou, and then you got the grooves and the rifling in it. So what it effectively does is it squeezes it down, creates a little bit of extra pressure, but because the projectile's already started moving, the pressure increase is enough to force the bullet down and to create higher muzzle velocities, but it also lengthens the bullet and makes it more slender. So effectively what you get is you got a 20 cal 22 rimfire now. On average, we don't know, the jury's still out. I'm going to do all the research. I haven't been able to find hardly any information about it, except I did, as a young kid, I did read about some stories of an old fella, Arthur Langsford, from Myra Gun Shop in Broken Hill in Western New South Wales, and he created it and called it the Myra Extruder. There was a 17 cal and the 20 cal. So from everything that I've found, it seems like the 20 cal is the way to go. 19 was the optimum, and that's what he was mainly concentrating back in the day. And he died, I believe, in the 90s or something, the 1990s, and it's sort of just fallen away, and not many people have really followed it up. But as that 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid, all of those things made sense to me. So I've encouraged one of my good friends to take in their favourite little Walkabout 22, that they took it to a gunsmith. The gunsmith did work on it, and the rifle came back shooting worse than it did before they gave it to the gunsmith to do a trigger job, bed the action, redo the stock, and there was something else. It was meant to be Cerakoted, but in the end they only 2-pack painted it. So now it's in the shop at the moment as we speak. I've gone and I've finally tracked down somebody with the reamer, chamber reamer, and somebody who will actually take on the project. A lot of people wouldn't do it. So found someone to do it. I've gone and spoken to him, and he actually built the barrels back in the day to the original Arthur Langsford. So what a coincidence. So the smith is very humble and doesn't talk it up too much, but what he did say is it turns it in 22 LR into a 200-yard bunny rifle. So effectively you're gaining about 100 yards more practical range out of it. You're increasing the length of the projectile, so that gives you a better sectional density. Now you're shooting 20 cal bullets that weigh on average 36 grains to 40 grains. Now there's more high velocity, sort of 22 rounds. This will be using a 1 in 8 twist barrel. For the gun nuts out there who understand this should give you a hard on, okay? You're gaining on average 150 to 200 feet a second. The length of your bullet is increasing, so that increases your sectional density. The length of the bullet, is increasing, so that's going to increase your ballistic coefficient, But because it's getting narrower and longer, you're also increasing your sectional density, you know, considerable an amount. So that is going to give you deeper penetration, and you're going to retain more energy downrange because your ballistic coefficient is much better. So there's less wind resistance, etc., and atmospheric pressures and conditions to affect the bullet. So you're gonna, so it's a double whammy or a triple whammy. So we're picking up velocity, we're increasing the ballistic coefficient, and we're increasing the sectional density. That means it's going to retain its velocity downrange further, which also retains energy downrange further. So it's going to hit harder further out, and the further it goes, the vaster the difference between the normal 22 and this new caliber. So allegedly it's meant to give performance very similar to a 22 Magnum, especially once you get to around that 100 yards mark. Now this is another kicker, because it uses a 1 in 8 twist barrel. That's going to, and you're using a soft lead projectile, that 1 in 8 twist barrel compared to a standard 22, which is a 1 in 16 twist, that massively increases the RPM of the bullet. So I don't know, but the speed and the barrel twist will increase the amount of RPM on the projectile. Being soft lead, it's going to and it's going to be brought up to a nice warm temperature inside the barrel with increased speed and increased pressure. That's going to help soften that lead, and then on impact you're going to have extra torque from that faster rotation, like a propeller in the water or a plane's propeller in the air. It's imparting torque on the air, on the water. So now when you come into contact with living tissue or whatever your target may be, it's going to create more torque to try and slow the bullet down, and it's going to deliver a lot more energy on target. So you're going to penetrate deeper, you're hitting harder because you've got a better ballistic coefficient and higher velocity, and you've got higher RPM, which is going to deliver more energy as well. It's at this stage, it's all in theory, but it sounds really good to me. So this is underway, and I'm definitely gonna make a lot of videos, a lot of experimentation on this little project. The downside to it is subsonics won't stay subsonic anymore. Most subsonics are around that 1050 feet per second to 1070, somewhere around those sort of lines. You're gonna well and truly be above the speed of sound now. Even some of the heavier suppressor sort of loads that you've seen, American Eagle, and some of the CCI ones as well, 45 grain, around 950 sort of feet a second. Even those ones are going to be above the speed of sound. Now, what I'm really interested in is the Aguila Super Sniper 60 grain. Okay, that's for those people who have seen that and aware of what it is, that's a 60 grain lead projectile, and it's and it's really long, considerably longer than most or all other 22 bullets, and it's in like a 22 short case, and it's actually quite a hot round for what it is. It's 60 grains, and it's got a claimed muzzle velocity of 950 feet per second. So squeezing that down, you're going to have a 60 grain 20 cal rimfire bullet that's meant to come out of a normal 22 rifle at 950. We don't know how much velocity it's going to gain. This is still just speculation, but it's going to be very interesting. I'm expecting it to go above the speed of sound, and with the extra increased ballistic coefficient and sectional density, that thing should be a real performer. Now on the other side of the scale, there's the CCI I forget what it's called, but it's a copper, I think it's a powdered copper, compressed powdered copper round. It's 21 grains, and I believe it's got a muzzle velocity of around 1800 and something feet a second. So that thing's, as long as the projectile holds together inside the barrel after going through the squeezing process, which it should do because it's supported on all sides by the barrel and it's got pressure pushing up the arse of it, so I think it will stay together. Being copper, like the Barnes projectiles, etc., they're quite long for caliber, so this is going to get even longer again. And being light, with starting off with a muzzle velocity of over 1800 feet a second, are we going to be seeing 2000 plus feet a second with a very long, high ballistic coefficient, high sectional density 22 cal round? Don't know. We're going to find out soon though. And yeah, I've got high hopes for that. And if the 22 Super Sniper Aguila, if that works, well, you know, that's going to open up a big can of worms, you know. So anyway, that's the project, and I'll keep you updated. Definitely, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I'm a big fan of rimfires, especially subsonics. Big fan of 22 Magnums, and especially for the homesteading, prepping sort of thing, I'm a big advocate of the 22 Magnum. I've done videos showing that you can safely shoot 22 long rifle in the 22 Magnum if things get a bit tight and you can't get your normal 22 ammo. So if we can bring a standard 22 rifle or pistol, actually this is the other kicker, in a pistol you'll get even better results out of this squeeze bore in a pistol. A lot of 22 semi-auto rifles as well as pistols, especially the pistols though, suffer from feeding issues, jamming and things like that, because there's not enough consistent back pressure to operate the slide or the action. Having the little squeeze bore, that should create well and truly enough back pressure and bolt thrust, and that should that should smooth out all the operations in all the rimfire type actions. So I think that's really good. But imagine in a little revolver, especially one of those American Arms little mini revolvers in 22. You know, having that little forcing cone in the front there, squeezing that down, you're going to gain every last little bit of performance you possibly can. You're going to increase sectional density, you're going to increase your muzzle velocity. The ballistic coefficient won't really come into it because that's only point blank at the end of your arm sort of distance, but the sectional density will definitely help with penetration. The smaller diameter will penetrate deeper. You'll pick up that extra little bit of speed. How much in something that's got a 2-inch barrel or less, who knows, but it's going to be better than nothing. And if you've got that extra rotation, you're going to deliver more energy on target too. So yeah, let's see where this goes. And the best thing of all is to just shoot standard 22 ammo. So whatever you got, it's just going to you know, work really well. Now, allegedly, surprisingly as it is, it doesn't create a whole heap of fouling. Going into the smaller calibers, 19 and 17 cal, yeah, they're having a lot of issues with leading and things like that. But apparently, no issues with the 20 cal version of it. So anyway, guys, I'm going to keep everybody updated, and any videos and any news I'm going to post up here and see how it all goes, and do comparisons versus normal 22, 17 HMR and 22 Magnum. Righto, see you all later. Over and out.